Welcome.
Welcome to the POLYTECH podcast.
How could I bring people into the world that I live in, so that we live in, so that they could understand and see, actually, this isn't as hard as what I thought it would be, right? And, the common, I remember reading somewhere that, the information that's contained on a single daily newspaper today is the equivalent to the amount of information that someone would learn in their entire lifetime in the early 1900s.
Wow.
Right? So you take that same calculation and you put it on our kids, right? And imagine how much information they're working through, sifting through, how much data is being passed by these kids, who are naturally connected, because we came into the digital realm, right? We came and there was no digital, and then we connected into it. These kids don't know how to be disconnected because they grew up and the internet was already there.
Born into the matrix.
Absolutely. And the Wi-Fi router is like, what happened? And they just go crazy. So for us, we had these conversations early in the house. I used to speak at a lot of schools in Manila, and I'd talk about, the difference between creation and consumption, and oftentimes after I'd speak and I'd talk about safety, cybersecurity, and cyberbullying, and how to ensure that your kids aren't getting caught up in that. And parents would come up to me and they'd talk to me and they'd say, they'd ask me, how did you get into the role that you're in, so that they can direct their kids? And I said, because my kid, he's really, really into technology, right? And I'd say, okay, so talk me through that. What do you mean by he's really into when he turns on his iPad and he's playing, he's just always on it. And I said, okay. So, I said, what I would encourage you to do is talk to your boy about how do you create something? How do you use that tool? And because in our house, you get 30 minutes a day to consume. You want to play a game? Start your 30 minutes, man. And we have timers. Like the iPad is a 15-minute block, and there are only 3 people. We entrusted the code to our daughter now, our eldest. So myself, my wife, and my daughter, we know the passcode, but they only get 30 minutes. So they get the first 15, then they come back and they get the passcode, and they go to the next 15. Obviously we expand that and we extend it, but we're very clear on the fact that if you're consuming, you get your 30 minutes, get that out of your system. But if you want to create, have at it.
Okay.
No problem.
Go for your life.
My son created a PowerPoint presentation when he was 7. Created his first chatbot when he was 8.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so, because they're allowed to sit there, provided that it doesn't get in the way of your sports commitments, doesn't get in the way with the family commitments, doesn't get in the way with your school commitments. As long as it doesn't, encroach on that, you're good to go, right? And so, our kids jump on that, and like, for example, my daughter, I showed her a video of something I'd created, and she laughed, and she goes, "Oh, I remember when we did my migration video, Dad. When she was, I think she was 9 or going on 10 at the time, and she knows things about, my kids know things about PowerPoint that people don't know, right? Because they create and they don't, yes, they consume, they're kids, and so they naturally want to play games, they naturally want to gravitate towards that. But I strongly recommend to parents that as long as your kids are young, fight the urge to let the iPad parent them, fight the urge to put them in front of a screen and let them sort of vegetate there. It's like, get them to jump on Unity, jump on Scratch, and just, allow make sure that the cars still have rocket boosters, the horses still have wings, because they're in that creative realm where they haven't been conditioned to gravity yet, you know, like us, right? We have to sort of tap into a different part of our brain to be, you know, to sort of expound on that creativity. Whereas for kids right here, right now, they're still in that place, right? And so, you know, that's what we want, you know. And so Pasi is that. Pasi is, don't get conditioned to Sunset Industries. Just because Dad went and worked there, I'll bet you $100 that Dad doesn't want you to follow. You know, I'll bet you that if I spoke to your family and I asked them, do you want your son to come and work with you in the freezing works? You know, and build their family the same way that you built it, where you worked, you know, hard, you know, blood, sweat, and tears to get your deposit so you could buy a house, and, you know, or shall we go and find them something else to do, something that will elevate them? But every parent, without fail, will tell you, give them something better, right? And that's where Pasi comes from, because you know, and then getting people like yourself, you know, who, you know, have pretty much gone through the same journey, right? And we see something better for our kids as well. And then getting people like you to sit down with kids and mentor them and help them see something different, you know, pull them out of the reality of where they live into a place where you can say, you belong here. Right? Don't be afraid, you know. And I think that's the cool part, you know. And people say, you know, I remember I sat down with someone and they heard me talking to someone else about it, and they said, wow, that's a really hard job. You know, that's really, yeah, it's going to be a little bit uphill, you know, like that. And I just said, yeah, but, you know, that's why my knees are black. You know, this is what I do, man. You know, and if I, you know, if not now, when, and if not you, who, right? And so, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I like it.